welcome everyone who's joined us. Please forgive me, it's my first time using two formats to communicate with everybody, and yeah, it's my first time. So may I introduce to you, sorry I can't see, I'm just going to turn my Instagram, there we go. May I introduce to you my friend Dell. Dell is one of my first friends and guides and teachers on my journey. And he was there for me when I was having a lot of very crazy geometric galactic experiences and I couldn't make sense of it. And he helped me to make sense of it. He has a lot of really powerful teachings, not only from the indigenous culture, but he's also studied the Hinduism culture as well as meditation. And he's an engineer by trade. So he actually channels the Hall of Ascended Masters and has brought forward a lot of really cool, powerful information and tools to help people in our awakening journey, to help them through whatever they're going through, like clear the energy, create more love and light in their living space, eliminate different toxins, different brainwave patterns, anything that might be interfering with your process. He's got a beautiful connection with the Hall of Masters and has a lot of teachings and things to share with us today. So I introduce to you Dell.
Hi, Dell.
Nice to have you. So glad you're here. So Dell, first of all, tell us a little bit about, you were sharing with me earlier your Ojibwe name.
Oh, my Ojibwe name. Well, I won't tell you my spirit name because I'm not supposed to do that. But in the lodge, I'm also known as Nemikamos, which means either grandfather or learned one. And because of my strong connection with family and clan, I'm also known as Wolfman. I ain't got one. May not. Anyway, so that's where I am. So, and I've been doing meditation for 50 years. 50 years.
That's a long time to acquire wisdom.
Yes, and but started out with first the Eastern method of focusing on an object to eliminate all things in your mind, and eventually in 1975, I met a group where we did different types of meditation, which I taught Arian that technique, which is a method of accessing your higher creative self, okay, and use it for other purposes, but that's one of them, and also to go to an altered state of consciousness in order to allow the information to come in. So that's where we are. Her and I both do this now, and so it helps with the creativity, helps with mind.
And finding your purpose.
And find your purpose. I asked the masters in the Akisha one time, then all my life I'm worried about what my purpose is. What is my purpose? And they said, you're doing it. What? You didn't tell me, right?
You're doing it.
So I have to accept that, right?
Yeah.
No answer in this life, or I've got it. So, anyways.
Okay, so one of the questions that I think are really important that you really helped me with is understanding guides.
Yes.
So we have all of our levels of guides, and anybody who follows me, I guess you can't see me. Hello. Mm-hmm. Anybody who follows me or listens to me would know that I connect with galactic star beings. I connect with animal guides. I connect with animals and elemental spirits on Earth, and guides from the Ascended Masters, from the 12th dimension and up. And it was very uncomfortable for me because when this was first happening to me, that was too much for a lot of people. And I didn't really know how to understand what was happening. I actually felt pretty crazy. And Dell really helped me to understand in such a natural, casual way. So I'd love for you to share with everybody watching the different layers of guides, like the Earth guides and going up to the star nations and how to work with them.
Well, the Earth guides, I of course, I have power animals for different types of journeys. If I'm doing a shamanic drum journey, then I have a black female panther who accompanies on my journeys. If I'm doing shamanic work in the healing lodge, then I have a pair of wolves. And then if I'm doing stuff that is of a higher level, such as intuitive levels and awareness, then I have a gray owl that assists me on that. So, and then when I go to the next level, I go up through the different levels. Then I have teachers that come in and take me for specific purposes. And then only a few years ago, I learned how to be in contact with the masters at the Akasha. And then I learned a lot more about, inquire about my past lives, at what levels I'm at, those people that have affected me in this life that were part of other lives. And then after that, I go to a higher level where I contact angels at the different levels in the ascension. Most of the time, I never go above the virtues, but that covers enough people. And most of the work that I'm doing, it would appear that those are the levels that the angelic spirit is coming into my work. Most of the time from the virtues level. And then, of course, I work with archangels, and they're very much in my work and in my healing. So that I work from, and occasionally I'll call in Metatron when I really want some high level work. So, but the two that I work with mostly is Sandophon, who is the Earth archangel, looks after the Earth and basically our solar system and galaxy. And from the upper level of Metatron on down through the archangels and through the lower level angels. So that's basically the levels I use. I was, even before I got into using guides and angels and so on in my work, I actually had the opportunity when I was doing a very deep meditation one time to actually go to the Hall of Records, which was, I thought it was just library, and I bring out books and trying to read them, but of course, I just thought I wasn't at the high enough level to understand what to read them, but I was trying to improperly read other people's minds. So, and the protocol that we work with all the time is that we never do anything in anyone's life without their permission. And that includes even praying for them if they need help. We must get permission because we can't interfere with their soul's path at any time.
I think that's a really important subject because as light workers, as we awaken, we're finding that we have all these gifts and we feel empowered by these gifts and we want to help and serve. But when we step into other people's fields and do things without their permission, we're not actually serving them. We're just serving our ego. The best way to serve anybody in your peace on earth is to heal yourself. And Del has been a huge teacher for me in that. And what are some rules and guidelines that you share with people surrounding being a responsible light worker today?
Okay. First of all, any and all things that you hear from that person is strictly confidential. You share that with no one else, right? When you do the work with them, you get the permission to touch them. If you want to touch them for healing, you must get the permission to touch them. You always make sure that they are in a safe space. They must be aware that you bring them into a safe space. They can say whatever they want to say. They can swear, they can scream, they can do whatever. But it must not be directed to any individual, but only to release that to the universe. So and then basically we almost protect them from all entities from entering into their space when we work in them. And sometimes, of course, we're removing entities, and then we have to have a definite procedure for doing that. So to protect them. It's always about being of service to the person, not being intrusive in any way, and always guaranteeing them the fullest confidence in what you're doing, and no disclosure at any time to anyone else of what you found or what you discussed. It is even stronger than the thing with the doctor patient relationship or a lawyer and patient. It's at a higher level. We're at that protective part where we are within their field, we are within their being. We must be even more careful about how we approach this.
So one of the questions, and this comes up for light workers a lot, as I'm sure you know, is you go into circle or ceremony and you learn things and you want to help people and you want to heal them by yourselves from home, and you put that creative energy into their force field because you just want to give them love. It's all based on love. So at the lodge where Del is, that teaching is interference. And the reason why it's interference is because if that person hasn't agreed to that, you're actually taking on their healing karma. So you can interfere and hurt yourself, and you can Also inadvertently not allow them to actually learn their lesson. So you need to always wait for people to come to you. Now, me, I'm a really strong seer, and it's my Achilles heel and my strength. And so I've gone through a lot of hard work not to put my feelers into the field of other people and only look when I'm asked to look. This is a lot of work to do this as light workers, but I think that's a part of the responsibility. When we're connecting with beings from another level, such as the Galactic Federation of Light or the Star Nations or the Archangels, none of them interfere with anybody else. They all work in a circle in a sense where they understand the skills of each other, but it's always with a non-interference. And that's actually the goal of evolving as a one nation here on Earth, a one nation of light beings and peace and neighborly and loving Mother Gaia equally. So, okay. So I want to talk also about your devices. Okay, so which is the first one you want to talk to us about?
That's the first one I do.
Okay.
The LLT.
So I'm just gonna share this with everyone.
Yeah,
the image is a little challenging to see, but I just want you to see the sacred geometry in the shape. This is really important piece of it. Okay, now this is a very large one. I use this with global healing and community healing and group healing when I do work, group work. So I just want everybody to see that. The two cameras. Okay. It was probably too much, but so Del.
Okay, so
please
this took actually a year to develop. The universality is actually very strange. I was in August in 2013. I took my niece and my nephew up to a concert up near Sault Ste. Marie, a little town called Pessamon, and one of my nieces owned property on the beach there. So, we were walking on the beach. Well, the children were playing in the water, and children, they were young teenagers, and I was busy on the beach pulling up purple lifestream, which is a invasive species of plants. And in the meantime, I was motivated picking up stones, and I have no idea why I'm picking up stones. So I take them home, and in October I started to get these ideas, and I built a device, and I found out if I put the stones on them, they could be energized, and I had no idea what energy they were receiving. So it was only after I worked on this for a while, and I went through 15 generations, developed over a year, and I found that I kept changing the pattern, and I had to learn two things. First of all, there's sacred geometry inside which I had to draw, and it took me many months in order to get right, because every time I draw it and I see the guy, is that right? He said, no, stay at it, and I kept going. It took me about 5 months to get it right. And then I started to do that, and I started with crystals laying horizontal and copper wires internally, and finally got to the vertical crystals. And one day, and every time I did this, I would make a change. I would take it up to the medicine lodge, and I would get the medicine woman to talk to her guys and critique my work. Okay. So some of the stuff, when I asked them, and they wouldn't say, we'd say to them, well, what's your answer? And they'd say, this is new to us. We have to get back to you. Okay. So one day they said to me, how come it's an octagon? I said, well, it's easy. I take a square and cut the corners off. And they said it has to be 9-sided. Okay, because my crystal pattern was 9-sided. Okay. So this is why it's 9-sided. And then it worked to the generation, has to be a certain thickness. Everything is a mathematical relationship around the numbers 3, 6, and 9. And that's what's inside. Now, this is a community LLT. It has the same number of crystals in there and the same pattern, but this is the latest pattern. In 2014, when I finished, the guide said to me, what if we change this to 2016? I said, well, thank you. Anyways, so they come along and told me I had to do certain things. I did one of them, change the sacred geometry, but I didn't want to change the crystal pattern. I liked the way it was. So this year, I changed the crystal pattern. It takes, I'm a little stubborn. It takes a while to convince me. But this is the latest generation, and it's all directional. The other one used to be somewhat directional. Interestingly enough, when we started out, the greatest energy was coming in from the north, and now it's coming in from Arian says the southwest, I say the west, and the medicine woman says the northwest. So it's somewhere in the galaxy. Anyway, so it works. So now this one is universal. There is lines on 120-degree lines, and all are equal length. So it is actually more universal than the other one. Okay, these dots are those points of greatest energizing location. So if you want to energize crystals or stones or whatever, you put them on those locations. Okay, so now this one also has, each LLTS not only has the 18 clear quartz crystals, but it has in the center what we call an aura crystal. And it's any one of 6 or 7 that I use. In a community LLT, it has all 6 crystals in there, so it's good for any and all people that are in there. Plus it has 6 copper tubes around there, which I always thought was for diminishing negative energy, but now it appears that they actually amplify the energy within. Okay, so that's what seems to be coming through now. So this one, Erin uses for her community work, and then she also has her own personal one, and I have personal one. So we don't usually tell people at the outset what it does because we want them to learn, okay, because it does many things. And we do not want to pre-program anybody's thoughts when they're using it. It's a learning. The only thing we tell them that it gives you additional energy, so don't be going working so hard because you got all the extra energy and working, tearing, hurting your muscles. So just take it easy. So that's the first thing you have to do. And we advise that you should be from 2 meters to 3 meters away from when you first use it because your body is not used to that energy level. And if you don't, then you have some pretty wild dreams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think I should share a little bit of my own experience?
So
this is just my story. It doesn't mean it will be somebody else's. I think that was part of the point, is that we all have our unique story and our journey. So because I work with light beings as well as dark beings, sorry, I was just reading the comments here. I got a little distracted. So yes, I have equal experience with benevolent beings as I do low-level beings like demons and lizards. The stuff that makes us really uncomfortable, I have a lot of experience with. And so this first came into my life. At first, he charged stones with a certain amount of quartz that were he doused, that were the right stones for me, and that these stones agreed to be energized for my purposes. There's always that sacred agreement with everything, and so that was the first piece. And what I started witnessing from there is it's almost like a vortex vacuum sucking into this. And what was happening is I could see the lower vibration. So the lower vibration, like they all have photons. We're all made of love and light at some point, but the lower vibrations, their photons might be broken or they connect with less light. If you're just going to look at it in terms like of a visual energy, and I would see that low vibrational light from these lower beings getting sucked into this vacuum effect of these stones and then transmuting them. So they would either allow themselves to be transmuted or they would take off because they were like, I'm not into this. I like being who I am. I'm out. And so this has been a huge part of my process. And then later on, when my own personal LLT came into my space, I could feel it. It was almost like quivering. It was shaking, and it started reading and expanding in the space. Again, continuing in that Taurus energy. It's reading and scanning and reading and scanning. It would just expand and expand. And every time it found something in my house to neutralize or that needed support in filtering the low vibration to the love and light vibration, it would almost like suck it in there and then change its photon, change its light quality, and it would go further and just kept cleansing my house in this motion. And it's been a huge support and helping me, because it's very overwhelming to deal with beings that your walls don't matter and your personal boundaries don't matter. So it was a huge piece for me that I was able in those darker moments to still hang on to love, because love and light is the most powerful anything there is in this world, and that basically supports it. And it's unbiased. I personally found it was unbiased. It was just looking at energy. It was looking at story. So it just kind of helps with that. And then by doing that, by taking all those layers off, I was able to decloud my mind, decloud my experiences, and start utilizing and applying strategies and techniques and understanding more deeply what was happening. So anyway, it's been a huge part of my awakening healing transition, a huge part of me healing from the trauma stories that were attracting these low vibrational beings, and they're just wonderful devices. Anyway, that's part of my story. I have more story, but that's just a part of it that I wanted to share with everybody. Okay.
Should we show the energy?
Yes. Yes.
Basically, this has 18 quartz crystals in a given pattern and also in certain orientations. So, and it has the ore crystals in the center and it has the copper. So what I'll do is I'll pick my pendulum and it will rotate. Because this is energy is coming in, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the things that I found was surprising that it pulses. Now, the medicine woman that I work with, she can see the energy fields. And of course, I had one time I made a mistake in it, and I knew I made a mistake. And I took it up to her anyways, and she said to me, "Get that thing out of here. It has a very bad pattern." So so the shaman said to me, "Still trying to fool her, are you?" Anyway.
So I just want to ask everybody before we continued. I actually had a hard time seeing the pendulum on my computer screen. Okay. Did everybody see that? Well, nobody's saying anything. Okay. So I guess so. It was all good.
Anyway, so the reason I didn't know what I was doing, all the time I was working with, I kept saying to the creator, "Don't let me do any harm with this. Guide me on this." And then one day I talked to the master at the caster and said, "I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I can measure these forces. I can do the pendulum, do the rods. I know the field strengths. What am I working with?" And he said, "Light and love forces." And I said, "Perfect."
Yeah.
So the reason it's called an LRT is because the medicine woman at the lodge said it's a transceiver. It's bringing energy in and it's flowing out. Okay. And that's what it's doing. Whenever I have this, the energy always goes to the earth. But my friend Jerry and I tried one time, his partner, he lives on the 18th floor, and we put this on the floor, and this went up 23 floors in the building. So it has that kind of strength. We worried about the fact that I had this in my space, or he has it in his, or Arian, and she said it's doing the whole neighborhood now.
Yeah, it's true.
We said, I have this in my space and it's interacting with people at other floors. How do I live with the fact that I never asked their permission to bring this into their space?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the guide says to me, my higher guide said to me, "This is the way it is. Your higher conscious is aware of the energy and either uses it or doesn't." So I said, "Fine. Okay. Off the hook." Well,
thank you. But I guess so it's working in the field. It's not working directly on the person. It's the field.
It's only their field senses it and
okay.
Their uses not. It's a when you were talking earlier about putting energy out to someone without their permission.
Yeah.
Okay. Our teaching is that we can not put the energy in their field, but they put the energy onto their higher self.
Okay.
And they can use it or not.
Okay.
Okay.
So their free will is
it's
not
like you're putting it out to the universe and
yeah.
saying, "Here's some energy for your use if you wish it," but you're not putting it on the person.
Okay.
Okay? You can do that. Right.
That's great advice. So I just want to say, so 2 people said no, they did not see the pendulum swinging. I think I'm going to have to figure that out for a later date, but Del, did you want to describe to them the pendulum swinging?
Okay.
Because they weren't able to see it.
And on these particular devices, we'll put it down here. So just leave it flat on the legs. What happens is, on this particular device, it's always a clockwise rotation. So we have to assume that the energy is coming in from the universe in a clockwise direction, which supposedly that's the way gravity works, but we're doing light and love energy, and the pendulum swings around like this to the right. So it'll continue to go faster and faster till it gets a certain level, and then it'll slow down as the field pulses.
Yep.
You feel it pulse.
Yeah.
there you see it's come up again,
Yeah.
and then it goes down.
Okay, I can see it on the screen
So
now.
now we
I
know-
hope everybody else can.
now we
Alicia, can you
can-
see it?
You see it has a pulse and energy, which I wasn't aware of until I started using the pendulum and wondered why. And if I use the rods, I can measure the depth of field. And when I get right to the edge of the field, the rods will do this, showing that the energy is pulsing. So I can show it both ways. But
Rods, in case anybody doesn't know, Dal, I just grabbed your secret tool. I'm so sorry. So these are dowsing rods, in case anybody does not know what they are. Okay, so the dowsing rods, Adele, how do they work? You hold them in your hands, and they read the field of energy. So you would use the dowsing rods to measure the
depth of the field.
the depth of the field.
Yes, how far.
Whereas the
it's going.
pendulum you would use to.
Depending on using to identify the energy and the type of energy that I'm
Okay.
doing.
Okay.
And like we'll get later when we show them that it has different patterns. The energy has different patterns. So this one is always a clockwise, horizontal. When it comes in, it feels, and I look at all this stuff that all these devices appear to be the same as a magnet. A magnet is, once you magnetize something, it acts like a gate for which the lines of force will flow through it. This appears to be a gate through which the light and love can flow through. Okay.
I love that.
Because until I put this together, it's there all the time, but I'm not measurable and I'm not using it for a specific purpose. So this one, whenever we do them, we have to take the person's, first of all, permission. Secondly, their legal name, so that I can be in touch with them on the spirit level. And then I can then select which aura crystal is for them. So it's a very personal device. They're generic up to the point that I select that center crystal.
That center crystal.
Yes.
Okay, so if anybody wants to order one of these from Dell, hello. These are all custom made for you. He does get you all of your information. He talks to the Kasha, the Halls of Masters, and gets complete permission and customizes these
No, I
to your
don't talk
needs.
about their life. All I do is get their permission to dose for their crystal.
Ah,
I'm not
okay.
going further than that.
Okay, so for this particular device, he just gets permission to douse for the crystal that is best suited for you.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we want to talk about next? Mistel?
You talk about Mistel, yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you stand this on the side, oh, we better come with this.
Okay. We'll finish this.
This, if you put it in aluminum, or you put it on glass, or you put it on 3 layers of fiberglass cloth, it kills the energy. Okay.
I just wanted to ask something. Does it kill the energy? So it's no
It
longer,
blocks the light energy.
but it doesn't neutralize it. It's just when it's actually on those devices.
No, it's, I can show that to you, how quickly that works.
Okay.
We'll use this, okay?
Okay. So
Now,
just to
what
show
I-
everybody what that is, this is a piece of tin foil,
This is
aluminum
aluminum.
foil.
Okay, and I put it on here, okay? And I'm going to get air in.
Yes.
I'm going to stand here with the rods, and you can see me with the rods.
Okay.
And I will stand here like this, and you can see that they're pointed ahead, right? Straight ahead. I'll stand on this side so you
Can
can
we
see them
see?
actually work.
You know, I don't really think we can see.
Okay,
Yeah.
if we got closer to the television.
Perhaps.
Okay,
Okay,
put it
I'm
on
gonna bring
unity.
it right here.
Okay, because I need you to do something. I'm going to put the rods like this, you see? They're
Okay.
pointing straight ahead.
Yep.
Now I want you to remove the aluminum. Just pull it off.
Woo! They swung right open.
Now put it back on.
Okay. Yes, I saw that. Did
Okay.
everybody catch that?
Do that again.
Okay. Maybe come from another angle too. Get a
Okay.
couple angles. Yeah, that's a good angle.
Okay, now watch.
Okay.
Okay, there's no, it's not
There we go. Okay.
transmitted, it's not transmitted.
Aluminum, no aluminum. Okay, yeah. I hope everybody caught that. That's pretty cool. I mean, you hear of light workers in the beginning or like in the,
Yeah.
maybe didn't have guidance, would wear aluminum hats.
Oh, the kids used to do that. So the youngies don't read their brain.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Okay, so that's either glass or aluminum.
Okay.
So basically
Forward.
when we ship them,
Right in. Yeah.
when we ship them, we make sure they have aluminum wrapped around them, and so that it doesn't put a signal. My friend Jerry went through the UPS scanner and it set off the alarm. So we don't want to be getting everybody excited, and people in the U.S. Whatever they call it, Homeland Security, think you're shipping a bomb, So
I just wanted to talk about aluminum and glass with other sacred objects. Sometimes when we have so many sacred objects around us, it can pull us in many directions. And so it'd be good to kind of feel for what do you need a break from? Like, do you need to have like every crystal awake at that time? It could be making our senses overwhelmed, which makes it more difficult to walk as a human. So just really think about that and like, hi everyone. Sorry, I'm not in the camera view. So it's just something to think about, that sometimes we need to slow our minds down as light workers. To be on Earth is a different frequency than the information that we're receiving, and that information comes in at a fast rate. Light moves faster. The higher the vibration, the higher the dimensions, the faster, the faster, the faster. So things can come into our brains and feel like there's like this emergency to resolve whatever's coming through. Aluminum in our hats. Yes, that's right, Keegan. Using aluminum or putting things on glass or putting, is it money and keys as well?
Well, we don't, if you have crystals in your pocket, like I do my medicine bag, right?
Yeah.
I always make sure there's no coins or keys to it because they have
everybody's energy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I wanted to say something about,
Okay.
Arian talked earlier about getting the stones that are energized.
Yeah,
When I do the stones,
there we go.
I wrap them in aluminum.
Yes.
So two things. One, so their energies, I've got a whole drawer full of energized stones, so everything's wrapped up, right? So you're not allowed to have more than 3 stones in a household.
Okay.
Okay, so and I got a whole drawer for them, I have to make sure that they're all isolated. So we wrap them in aluminum till the person gets them, and then they unwrap them. So, and that's the way of transmitting. If you're going to travel, you should wrap them up too. So
I just wanted to add the stones that he's referring to. Using this device is one of the ways that they're charged. So I actually use my device to charge people's crystals and stones and water and my sacred medicines with this device.
Yes.
Just to let everybody know, it has a multiple purpose. If it's something that you own, you can support your loved ones by using it as well.
And you can, I support, of course I did, in order to make my pendulum more sensitive, it's energized by setting it on that spot. And also these rods are set on the spots like this, 90 degrees, so that I'm also energizing these rods so they're more sensitive.
I have something to add to that because I have a couple of years of experience with these, and I just want to share my story, and I think this is a cool piece to add. So I also use crystals in my vibrational medicines, and what I do, because the crystals have gone through all these different processes to get to me, they're not always aligned with their original instructions and their frequency as that crystal. And so when I put it on the love and light transceiver, it eliminates everything. The crystals become aligned with their original instructions. So it's exactly when they were formed by creator or creation, and their crystal went through the everything that it does to form a crystal. It brings it back to that original state.
What we should do is show them what an aura crystal looks like.
Okay.
Okay, so on that top one,
So I'm just going to show you an aura crystal.
the top one is a hybrid, which is a combination of aura crystal and rose. And the other one on the one is, 2 of them are rose, and the other one is a tangerine. And it looks like tangerine. Okay. And these are made by, how aura crystals are made by putting them in a crucible.
Oh, we have a question.
Okay.
Why only 3 stones in a household? I thought that's actually, I wanted to ask that too.
I don't know. That's what the guides tell me, so I don't question their authority.
Now, is it a household? Is it does it have to do like, is it one person in the household?
Well,
or
let's say you got
depends on the amount
3
of
adults,
people? Yeah.
and each one, like the one in New Hamburg, there's the mother and the 2 sons needed it, and I made sure that was a limit, right? It couldn't be one for the father. It had to be just those 3. Now, I have no idea. they told me that, I followed the rules.
Just for anybody who's joined in, the they that we're referring to who is teaching
Oh, they are my guides.
Dell, it's his guides. And are you able to share anything about your guides?
Well, and through the learning process, you go through quite a few guides before you get one that sticks, I guess, right? Stays around. One of the processes I went through was, and it's one where you have to, how can I say this? This guide makes me look at everything that I did to hurt someone, whether it was verbally or physically or whatever. I'd have to ask their forgiveness for this thing. And I also have to forgive all those people that did things verbally or emotionally against me. So this process went on a while. There's a lot of things you forget that you did in your life, like even things you said in your high school or something, So after that, then I now have a permanent guide who's a very ancient soul, and his name is Adrian, and he talks to me, and I ask him for help when I'm doing healing. Sometimes I ask him for guidance. I ask him to give me direction, and that guide is always there and will be with me till I die. So, yes, and that guide, of course, when you have, then there's other guides that come in for specific purposes, right? There's your everyday guide or permanent guide, and then there's other ones that come in for purposes. And when I'm doing healing, I'll call in other beings, whether it be archangels or other, it's hard to describe this. When I go to healing space, I'll have a place also that is, which I call my intensive care area, at which point there is all kinds of different people. There was doctors or teachers or healers or whatever, which I can call in to help me when this person really needs a lot of help.
Okay.
So the guides are all different levels and also past histories and past professions. It's not like everybody's a healer, but it's everybody that you're needed to help you in what you're doing. Okay, so that's it. Guides can be any and all things, and I have female guides, and I have male guides, and I have female assistants, and it's all there to help you. And I don't question it when I ask for help. The information I get, because I wouldn't have got that information, I wouldn't ask for it, right? So there's no point.
You asked for it.
I did this one time. I asked the guide for some help, and they gave it to me, and I didn't act on it. And I went back another time and asked for help, and they said, "You didn't act on the last information. What are you back for?"
All right. I know, I find when I follow through with my guides, they all show up, cheer me on. They're like, okay, here's the next piece. And when I don't follow through, I think, oh, I'm not enough.
Yeah, right. When am I going to get some ability?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is that you can stand this on the side. It also, if you stand on the side, it also cancels the energy when you stand on the side. Okay? The energy flows a little bit horizontally, but almost nothing. You see, it doesn't want to cross.
So can you tell everybody why it's important to take a break from energy? Why would it be important to know that we can turn these off or on?
Well, mainly because it's like the same if you're doing meditation. If you meditate all the time, you're not living in reality. You're not living your life. You're not living your purpose. You are escaping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the meditation that Erin and I do, it's always for a purpose. It's not just to space out and do mantras or anything and just sit there and not do. We always try and to be productive in whatever we do, whether it's gaining information or doing healing work or whatever. It has to be for a purpose, not just to space out.
Yeah.
To do nothing. Okay. So, and so you need to have a break from that. You can't be living on that. We call that the spiritual level. We call this the life level, or the average on the red road, and that one's called the blue road of spirit. So we only go to the blue road of spirit when we're doing ceremony or we're doing healing. The other time we're here. It's where we exist and the purpose we're supposed to be following, right?
Yes.
We do not, like the Buddhists say, you have to denounce everything to get to nirvana. Well, I don't want to. I've got family, I've got friends, and I am selfish. I don't want to give these up out of my life. I like them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will never get there. And besides, they said to me, since you're in the Western world, you also have a household, you haven't got a chance.
Yeah, right. It's just not the way the world is right now.
Yeah.
Well, I know for me, like being like a light worker, when I was just doing all the work in the astral and not doing any of the work here, suddenly, this happened the last summer, my whole life got stopped. I was put on ice. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go take my kids to places. I was basically put on ice. Everything around me completely fell apart. And I've witnessed this with many, many light workers and many healers, all different kinds of ages. You have to be here. You have to take the steps here. Like this stuff is to support you in bridging that. It's not to take you so far out of who you are on Earth that you're just a starlight. Because the reality is that we have to blend the two. And I think that's the whole point of it. Right?
Yes.
That's the point of being here on Earth. Like it's the binaries. You've got to learn to accept the binaries and be in harmony with it. And you've got to accept the ego and be in harmony with it, not eliminate it.
Yes. All of the things that are coming to me, which I call them crystal energy creations, any and all of them are basically for the purpose of healing, to aid in healing, or for your personal growth.
Yes.
And one I haven't got here because I only built 3 of them. I don't want to build any more because they're just too powerful and they would damage people's brains. So I have it. My friend Jerry has one. There's one at the Medicine Lodge, and I have one. But you have to be very careful with their use because they're too powerful. So I don't want to make any more because I don't want anybody to get injured.
We're not ready for it in this dimension yet.
Basically, it's got 108 crystals in it.
Okay.
And it's got 6 coppers in it, and it is so
So this
powerful.
is a Nirvana crystal. It's a Nirvana device.
Yeah.
Got it.
108, the Buddhist means.
Yeah.
Anyways, and I originally called it just a Matrix 108, and now it's called Lucy. One of the guides I had was the Archangel Uriel for a period of time, who was starting to teach me about light work and so on. And so when I built Lucy, I didn't want to call it LL because it doesn't rhyme in it. So I asked Uriel if I could use the first letter of his name for light. So it's Lucy, Luci. So it's light, love, light, consciousness, intelligence. Okay, so, but it's too powerful.
I can feel it from here.
Yeah. Anyway, so Lucy doesn't get public exposure.
Well, let's talk about Misto.
Oh,
Misto.
Okay, this one, I have no idea why this came to me. It wasn't as a result of any particular answer I was looking for. I just was motivated to start doing this. And in all cases, I'm always directed to look for certain relationships, right? And then, of course, I never thought about 3-sided pyramids, except that they're not equilateral triangles. They're different, right? They have a different height to length, the base, and there's always a relationship between the base and the height and the length of the line and everything. So, and then inside, this one has a Merkaba crystal inside of it. These both are the same purpose. And after I got working with this, I had no idea. I was calling it Misty. I was calling it Merkaba intuition, stimulated telepathy, telepathic energy. And that's what I was calling it Misty. And then I got a visit from an archangel. And
Keegan says, make one for me, please.
And so anyway, and he started talking to me about it, and he said, okay, this is the way it is. He said, I'm an archangel in the service of all that is. Very,
I always thought it was female, but I guess like the laws of gender are so fluid.
What?
Misty.
Missy is female.
Okay,
We'll show you in a
okay,
minute. I'll show
okay.
you why it's
Yeah,
female.
okay.
Anyway, it has female energy. Okay, so when I talked to medicine woman, I said, this has female energy, and then she says, there's no such thing as male and female energy, it's just your intent. I said, okay, my intent is that this is female energy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, he said to me, he said, my job is I am the portal or the gate for the life force energy. He said, one of the gifts from the creator to the universe was the life force energy. And he said, I am the archangel that guides the energy for planet Earth. And he said, we've been doing this since his creation. And along the way, of course, this energy comes and Mother Earth uses this energy to create all the abundance that's on the earth. He said, as part of the life force is intuition and telepathy, which is used by non-humans, such as all the trees and grasses and everything. They all communicate either through the roots or through their network. And finally, he said, the other gift to the universe from God is the love force. So he said, this device, the energy flows in through the surfaces and comes out through the ridge like a light beam. Goes this way and like that from all three corners.
I feel like I can envision light coming through a sphere in the window. You can see it coming and bending and splitting.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's going.
So you haven't done the current photography on this, but
not yet.
We will. Okay. And the energy comes out here like this, and like a light beam, not like a laser, but spreads like a regular light beam. And the guide tells me, the archangel tells me, when you're in that field, that you receive stimulation for intuition, telepathy, you receive the life force and the love from God. So that's what this one does, Miss Stella. Okay, so that's what he tells me. Because I have no idea what I'm building. Most of the time I build things and then I find out what it's for. Okay. So, except for a few things I've asked, when I go up into the Akasha level, and I used to go where Edgar Cayce used to go for the information, was said he could go anywhere and get people's past histories, plus he can get all the information, whether it's physics, chemistry, or whatever. So I learned to go there, and I now go and talk to a guy who calls himself the Superior Crystal Therapist. Right? And I ask him questions. Now, a few occasions I've asked him to give me specific information for certain purposes. But most of the time, this stuff just flows in, and I have no idea what it is until I'm finished. But they tell me physical, what type of crystal to use, approximately what size to use, what mathematical relationships, and what color to paint it.
Do you find when you're channeling this stuff, you almost have to empty yourself to receive the information?
No, I don't. It actually comes in involuntarily. Like I said, I feel like a puppet sometimes. He's going,
okay.
Guess what's next?
Yeah.
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 So, no, it comes in small bits. It doesn't all come at one time. It comes a little bit. Draw this shape, and I draw the shape, and then it says, look at this mathematical relationship for this shape, right? Now, Fortunately, I do all the math, and there's always have to complete the math, and then I make a sample, right? And then I have to learn how to cut the angles, how to assemble it, all the rest of it, right? It's a lot of processes for every one of them. Okay, so.
Okay, we're almost going on an hour now. Do you have one more you want to talk about?
You want to talk?
Which one?
Well, that's for you specifically.
Okay, so.
So this is a universal.
Okay, I'll hold that up for everybody to see. Okay. Let's get a good angle of this. And over here, hi everyone. Ooh, it's pretty blurry over here, but just to give you the.
It has that 5-star. It has a 5-star pattern. And draw the lines through, not just doing the outline, draw the lines through, we get a pentagon in the middle. So, and then the certain size crystal, clear crystal, on those points. Now, the reason this came about is that what we do, anytime we are working with crystals or stones, or I create something such for Arian, I will always dose it and then wrap it up in a red cloth, which we use for sacred objects, so that when she gets it, it's been purified of everybody's vibrations, including mine. So when Arian gets it, then she'll do the same thing to eliminate any crystals, energy that picked up along the road and so on. So I was motivated to think that we're doing this with crystals, but everything else that comes into our life. And they found out the reason that postmen get bitten more than any other delivery guy is because he's got a bag full of letters. Every one of those letters has different energy in them, from the person that wrote it, the person that carried it, the paper that was manufactured. So I said, everything that comes into my house has other people's vibration on it, whether it's food, the guy who planted the seeds, or the tractor driver, or whatever, or if I'm doing magazines or books or newspapers or circulars, the manufacturer of the ink, the paper manufacturer, the guy that did the type setup, all of those things affect the outcome of this. So I was motivated to build this, and we call that a negative energy eliminator. Okay, and I was also directed to what color to make it from. So that's what it's for. So we bring this into the house. It puts out a field of about, depends where you are, 15 meters or approximately, 5 meters or approximately 15 feet. And it works not only horizontally, but it works vertically. So if you're carrying it with you, you're standing like that, it works. It creates a cylinder of energy that keeps everything out and cleans anything you come into the house like that. Yeah, so it's about approximately 5 meters, about 13 feet, it says on here. So I didn't remember what I was writing.
So just to kind of share with some thoughts on this would be something that's really great for people who are working to heal people already, for example. So you might use something like this underneath your therapy bed. You might use this, like put it under your chair if you're taking psychic clients on the phone. There's, where else you might use this? Sometimes like my kids will come home from school and they just need a little space and they're like a little bit fighting or something. So maybe I'll put one of my kids with one of these just so their energy isn't crossing over until we settle down. Okay. So Keegan is asking, can we make one of these ourselves? Sure. And like, Del, is this something like, would you ever set up a workshop to teach people to make something like this?
What's the name? When I went to the sanctuary, is that the sanctuary?
The sanctuary, yeah.
Rosso.
The Rosso Sanctuary.
One of the women there asked me if I would write a book describing these so they could make them. And I said, well, I said, of course you're going to have to, if you're going to do those, you're going to have to have skill with woodworking and how to set up angles and how to use a saw and all. This, it's not that difficult. It's basically, this circle is 172 millimeters.
Okay.
Okay. And then make a 5-pointed star like that and let it come through so you have the pentagon in the middle. Okay. And then you select these crystals so that they don't touch any of the lines, right?
Let me just show them a little closer.
Yeah.
So you can see the crystals aren't touching any of the lines.
Yes. And you can buy, if you have a Michael's store near you, you can buy these discs at Michael's.
Pre-made?
Just a disc.
Just
it says
a
on the back, it says Art Minds.
Art Minds.
It's actually made for artists.
Well,
okay?
You've got it, guys. Del has taught all of you how to make that. These are going to clear your devices. They're going to clear your food, clear your mail,
clears everything.
Just everything.
Everything you're bringing in your household, including foods, booze, doesn't matter.
Okay, so I think the whole world should make one. So please write it down and go make one and make them for your friends and family. The more of us that can stop bleeding into each other's energy, the more of us can just focus on our own healing. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Make it.
Make it.
Pick it up, Michael's. I can't remember the color of blue, but you can see the color yourself. If you do
it looks like a periwinkle.
Yeah, you can dose for that color. I don't know if it's off for a few degrees of color. I don't think it's going to affect them much. It's all about intent.
Yeah.
It's all about the geometry and the fact that the crystals will serve the purpose for which you intend them. And that's the important part.
And I think that's huge because
Yes.
that's exactly the energy that you're creating. I think
Yes.
we're all master spellcasters.
Yeah, we are.
We're masters. We just
No.
don't know it. So you can manifest
What I put
anything
you
with your
down with,
intention.
there's a glue called Well Bond, which is white. It's non-toxic. It's not ultraviolet sensitive, and it's also water resistant. And when you spread it on there, you can see that you got it, and then you set the crystal in it, okay? And it dries clear, as you can see.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. I
So
love that.
Build yourself a negative envelope.
Okay. So we're going to drum together to close down this talk today. I just want to thank everybody who came to join us. And, you know, this is obviously very grassroots. I've got my little phone, and I just shout out to my girl and her awesome t-shirt. Well Bond. Sorry, somebody's asking the name of the glue. I know we said we'd have a Q&A at the end here. I don't know if anybody has some questions before we move forward. We've been on for about an hour now. So anybody has some questions, now would be the time to throw them out.
If you're in Canada, you can pick up Well Bond at Home Hardware or at Canadian Tire. I don't know where it is in the U.S.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay. I think I get everything from Amazon. Try Amazon. I just plugged Amazon.
Yeah. You should be getting a commission on that.
Okay. So I just wanted everybody to know that we have, Dell, they want to know if you have a website.
No, not yet.
So if you want to connect with Dell, you can reach out to me and I can make an arrangement for that. Yeah. Okay. And then, so we're going to probably be doing some other videos in the future.
Yes.
Like I think like some of his meditation techniques that he's taught me have been huge tools. Maybe we'll do a meditation video, guidance.
Okay. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But if anybody has things they want to learn from Dell, just message me, drop a line, and we'll talk about that.
The antenna, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. We have a lot of information. We barely touched a quarter of what we wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So yeah. So if anybody wants to learn more from Dell, just reach out to me, and we'll make that happen. I just wanted to add that I have. I'm a very blessed human, and I've met many shamans throughout my journey. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to be, I'm actually volunteering to facilitate an event with Mambaki Ifuego shaman. His name is Mamerto Tindungen, as well as Taka Victor. He is a part of the, Sakbe Mayan Council. Very cosmic shamanic work. So we have an event coming up on the 28th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and, 26th, 27th, 28th. And we are going to be, okay. My video just ended on Instagram. So if anyone's on Instagram, I'm really sorry about that. I don't know why that happened. So we have an event coming up then. So anybody who buys tickets in advance, you can find it on my Facebook events page, will receive $10 off of any service with me. Okay, so we're gonna drum to sign off, and then everybody just enjoy your Sunday. Okay, you go ahead and you lead. I'll just follow you.
Okay.
I love drumming. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Dal. I love that we got to do this. And just one more thing, if anybody out there has a video camera or anything that they're willing to trade with me for a service, or I can buy from them, please let me know. I'm looking to improve the quality of my video equipment on a light worker's budget. So if anybody out there knows of anybody, please send me that information and connect us. And you can check out my website, www.arianesaffron.com, to reach out to me or find out more about our services or upcoming events. Okay, thank you everyone. Signing off. Thank you, Del.
Thank you.